No countdown. We're just going live, and we're live.
We're live. And here we go. Wait.
Happy Monday.
Ready? Ready for it?
Yes, I am ready. Pop that cork.
Just gentle. Oh no. Oh no. Sheila, don't look.
Sheila, shield your eyes.
It broke. I don't think I got in far enough. But that's okay. It's still half in there. So we just do the process all over again. Hello, Michelle.
Michelle's here. Hello. I'm so behind on watching videos. I just watched.
I know. I just watched yours for what, 2 weeks ago?
And I saw she put out a new one. I'm like, oh gosh, so much to do. Oh, how's the year Monday going, Michelle? Were you productive? Because I got one listing on my Etsy shop today. That's about as productive.
That's one more than yesterday.
One more than yesterday.
All right, wait. Here we go. We can have a boop boop. Hello, Marcy. I haven't seen you in a while.
Hi, Marcy. Yeah, I was hoping that some of the
I got it out.
Yeah. Mary was so sweet. She had a sale today, late afternoon, probably 5 o'clock Eastern. But
My ancestral beginnings, Mary.
Yes, and she was so sweet to give a little shout out for our show and encourage people to come visit tonight. Oh, there she is.
Speak of the not devil.
Speak of the angel.
Speak of the sweetie. Oh, it smells
Hi,
good.
Mary. Oh, there's Sheila. I see Sheila.
So now. You had let's just say you're just easing into the week. That's what your Monday was. I got dropped into the deep end for the week. But I survived. How was everybody else's Monday? Cheers, Susan.
Oh,
cheers. I'm having some Riesling. It smells delightful.
I need to. My water's low. I need a top off.
Ooh, that's very good.
Ooh, what is it? Tell us what the label is. What is the?
It's Petra.
Riesling.
I like the font on it.
Oh yeah.
Very like highlighted manuscript kind of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was gonna say kind of medieval.
Medieval. It's delightful. So a filter thing. What's a filter thing? I don't know.
For the wine?
Now I know like red wines you're supposed to aerate, right?
Oh.
So
I know you're supposed to swirl the glass for some wine.
Well, that's so you can see the legs of the wine. You know, the stickier it is on the glass, the more residual sugars are left from the grapes.
So if it clings to the side, is what you're saying?
It's gonna have more sugar in it.
Okay.
Yummy.
Well, I just have refrigerated filtered ice water. So Sonic ice water sounds more sophisticated than what I've got, Michelle.
Doesn't Sonic have the good crunchy ice?
I don't know.
You know the little like tubular ice that's got like all the little ridges, and so when you chew on it, it just crunches in the perfect way.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Does anybody else eat ice?
Oh well, I learned.
Michelle and Marcy say yes. Okay.
You know, They're with you. They're with you. When I was in college, I learned a lot of things about people having quirks, and one of my dearest friends, one of my college roommates, Wendy, one of her quirks was you could not chew ice around her. I mean, it would be the nails on the chalkboard.
Like, yeah.
So every time I'd start doing it, I'd be like,
there's one local restaurant. It's more like it still has like a lunch counter. I mean, it hasn't changed basically since it opened. It's called Woody's. It's a place for hot dogs and pepperoni rolls, which are West Virginia's state food. And but they have that crunchy ice, but it's little tiny.
Okay.
And it's perfect. It's the best ice. I can't eat there anymore, but sometimes I want to just go in and get a drink.
How tiny? Are we talking like Dippin' Dots tiny?
It's like this big. It's like this little tubes, about like 3/4 of an inch. But, yeah, we're gonna be random tonight, apparently.
I think we are.
Let's see, what happened to my slides? There. Okay. Well, we can get started.
Okay.
I can talk about more random things. I'm very good at
it. Well, let's start with collections. And I'm picking glove molds.
I love glove molds.
You know, I was looking at some in Ohio, and when I saw this picture, I was so regretful. I'm like, oh, I wish I'd gotten those 2 glove molds, because they were like a pair, like a fake pair. And now that I see this, I love this. And, you know, I have to say, sometimes a good picture can really sell a product or an idea. In this case, this photo had me. I loved it.
Well, now you know when you see one. The video I'm working on has one in it too. But it's working on it.
Yes. I don't know.
All right.
I really liked those. Look at them. I mean, they look great.
They're great. It gives me like, I mean, I think they're elegant, but I also think they have a slight creep factor.
They're creepy, but they could also be happy, like little cartoon high fives, or they're all saying hi, like welcome.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I like them. They appeal to me too.
Fake arms creep Sheila out, especially when there's rings.
Yeah.
So does this creep you out?
Look away, Sheila. Okay. We'll move on. Yeah, just jazz hands.
Happy hands. Spirit fingers.
So mine is, I went down a rabbit hole and I found this picture on the left. And so I was like, well, you know, I love a gallery wall. But what if you don't want to commit to art? Just use empty frames.
Like, then, it kind of becomes like the
architectural,
picture,
you know?
Yeah, picture molding, but in a more creative way.
Yeah, the one here on the left, of course, is very upscale. And, you know, all the, like, gilded and large scale. And I was like, what? Well, then we have this pop art one.
Yeah.
Basically, you just painted it whatever colors and then arranged it.
Yes.
And then I just kept finding pictures.
Well, to me, the pop art one looks more thought out as kind of like not exactly an art installation, but as a decorative element in the home. Yeah. On the left, it almost just looks like a gallery for frames. Like you can just like stop there. So I kind of, I mean, if I were to choose, I probably would choose.
Well, there's more choices.
Gold frames, but the right side.
Don't worry, there's more.
Yeah. Yeah. Like this.
No. Yeah. Like, I love this white with the, faux animal head in it.
Mhm. Mhm.
Love it. And then the black. I mean, oh, Susan. There you go. Susan, we're on the same. And then there was more. I just kept finding these pictures. I didn't know this was a thing.
There's more.
Hey, Apple.
Hi,
So I
Apple.
love, but what I loved about the white frames, and these butterflies are made of like newsprint or book pages.
Oh, I like that.
So,
That's
so
nice.
it's like a faux specimen
Yes.
wall, I love
Mhm.
that. And then, of course, all the red frames, and then, you
Mhm.
could add graphic things in it as well. So I just love the empty frame walls.
I like this one here on the left. I mean,
With the butterflies.
I love what you just said. The book page
Hmm.
butterflies. I love that with wood frames and butterfly page. Wait,
Yeah.
book page butterflies.
Well, yeah, you could
I
even
want to
use
do
like
that.
um illustrated pages and give us some color if you wanted to.
Oh, you could do that.
Or
You
you could do
could.
other insects,
Mhm.
Ah, there you go. I didn't know that. I haven't caught up on his
Oh,
duct
really?
tape and paint series as of yet.
Oh, okay, yes.
Nice.
I did catch his crappy craft where he did the candles.
Uh, but yeah, no, he's been redoing his thing. Yeah, I think it's called duct tape and paint. Is like if you want to watch about his studio
Yes.
makeovers in progress. Ooh.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
I
I
do.
have one of these Dundee jars.
Yeah, I there is something, to go along with the glove molds. This is kind of the same palette in a way of that, like, older ivory ceramic,
Yeah,
but
I have one in
I
my bathroom.
yeah, oh, yeah, I saw that. I think was it a candle? Like, they turned it into a candle or no?
No, I don't have anything in it right now.
Oh, oh,
I used to use it to hold my toothbrush.
oh,
I still have the lid though, and the lid has a castle on it.
oh.
And I actually found it in a random like florist shop that also had some antiques, but
Mhm.
they had the fattest cat I had ever seen in my life.
Oh,
Ever.
those are
I
great.
have pictures of this cat, okay? His name was
Any store with a
it,
huge cat
he
as
was
the
gray. He was a gray cat with a little white on him.
permanent resident is
And you know
great.
those wicker laundry baskets?
Uh-huh,
I'm
yeah.
not I'm not shaming him. He was fantastic. I wanted to cuddle this cat so bad.
Yeah.
And I want to say his name was like Gingham or something like it was a
Oh,
fabric name.
oh.
And um but he jumped up into that wicker basket and filled it.
I
Filled
think
it.
that's great.
He was the most I was and I used to think Mr. Malcolm here was a pretty chubby cat, and then I was like,
Right.
"Sorry, sir. You're fine. You're just fine."
Yeah, I mean, I've seen some big ones on Instagram and other places where it's like that animal,
I I
something
found
mutated.
but he moved along just fine. But anyway, sorry to take it. I saw those and I was like,
That's
I
okay.
have to tell y'all about this
Hey,
cat.
Jan. Yeah, I know most of these jars are like mustard and marmalade and other things, so
I think mine's a marmalade
I
one.
just said condiment jars because I'm sure that in England and in France, they refer different items, but there sure are a lot of the marmalade ones and
Yeah,
mustard
I think
and
mine's orange. Orange
Mhm.
marmalade. All
But
right.
they're just charming. Antique, advertising graphics. It's got a nice look.
At a local antique store, they have a whole wall of dairy jars, like different dairy
Very
product
cool.
jars that are about like
Oh,
this big. So like cottage cheese, um, they're all from dairies, from different dairy products,
oh,
and it's all like I think they're all crockery,
oh,
but it's a
wow.
whole wall. And I was like, ooh, that's fun. I should take a picture next time I go.
Yes, take a picture for collections.
Oh, it's an excuse to go back.
Do it. Do it.
Oh, inspiring.
Okay, inspiring interiors. I picked this because, of course, I liked the art, but there's a little pumpkin right there in the middle.
No, I see the pumpkin. It reminds me of those pumpkins that Catherine had that were made out of a oil can.
Yeah.
Did you see that? That was cool.
Oh yeah. This is one of those types of rooms where you pretty much like it for the simpler aesthetic, but it's a nice mix of a modern table and a traditional chair. But I thought it was inspiring. The really creative, like huge painting, that's going to be the next. That's my next goal, is to get a really awesome large painting. I mean, that would be awesome.
You can find one.
Well, I'm sure I could find one, but I don't know if I would like the price tag attached to it.
And are those all picnic campers in the other?
I wasn't sure, but I liked this, the basket aesthetic, but in suitcase form.
Yeah.
So I thought
I did their picnic campers.
Picnic hamper. Wait.
What we would call picnic basket, but they're
picnic hampers.
Hamper. Yeah, they call it. It's a British thing.
Cool. Well,
you can still get picnic campers from Fort Nova Mason.
I like them. I would definitely take one home if I came across one. I don't think I ever have. Nothing that size. I mean, that's a big basket suitcase or picnic basket. I mean, that's big.
Well, I mean, used to, they would like take feasts out
I know.
in their picnic campers.
They'd take the china.
But of course they had servants to carry it and set it up and everything else. Anyway, moving on. So
Jan says, if I had a huge house, I might be able to be a minimalist.
Well, yes. When you spread it out, it's not a lot of stuff. Like, can you imagine? Like, you've seen everything in my house.
Yes,
I used to exist in a room, and it was all mainly packed away and not out. So,
yeah.
But once I got it out in my house, like, it works. Till I buy too much more. So, yesterday during our sale, when you showed the Bambi record, and I was like, oh, I want an Enchanted Forest book nook. I tried to find an Enchanted Forest book nook, and it failed me. But I went down the book nook rabbit hole, and I found these.
It's like,
and I want them all.
It's just that's like a stone.
That's in a castle somewhere.
Yes.
But I want to sit there and read so badly.
Look, I mean, it has to, because look at the window. That has to be a castle.
It has to be.
Wow.
And the rug. Chair.
Yeah. I could bask in this photo for a good 10 minutes.
I know. And the one on the right, like, I want to jump in there. I want to close the curtains. Hide away. My cats will probably find me.
Oh, yeah.
That's okay.
They'd probably
allow it.
They'd probably try to pull down that little tassel. Or is that a bell, you think, in the middle?
I'm hoping it releases the curtain. That's what it is in my head.
Oh, cute.
Yeah. And then there was this one.
Wow.
Isn't that great?
That's
so you
great.
can find a little attic corner. Paint it all white.
Yeah.
Toss an old mattress up there. Get a chandelier.
It really does look like that's what they did. Instead of investing in trying to redo it or insulate the walls, they just painted those
fabric to it.
Painted the old boards and stapled some fabric up there.
Now it needs some fresh flowers for me. That's what I need. Not just dried flowers.
Oh.
I need a pretty little bouquet there.
Mm-hmm.
But then, of course, you would not want to be up there in the summertime. It would be quite hot.
Yeah.
But in the fall and early spring, it would be great. Perfect.
Well, what if it was in the right landscape where there was a tree over the roof? Then you might get a little
or if there's a window on both sides, you get a cross breeze going.
You don't know. It could be a wonderful summer.
Do we see an owl?
Escape. I don't.
Oh yeah, Portia. Yeah, there needs to be more pillows in this picture. That's my other complaint. There's not enough pillows. Never.
I love the linens. The ruffly.
Mm-hmm. It looks like the bed or whatever is wearing like a tulle skirt.
Yeah, exactly. Or like a old pin tucked underdress from maybe the old
like the combinations or the
shifts, those things.
Petticoats.
Volumes of material.
So those are my top 3. But if you go on Pinterest and look up book nooks, I mean, you're going to go down and you're going to find all kinds of things.
Wow.
If you just need to kill some time and look at things that make you want to curl up and read, I recommend it because the weather we've been having, it's exactly what I want to do.
Yes. Yes. These are the kind of pictures I need to look at right before I go to an antique store or something.
Yeah.
To keep a certain goal in mind of I need a chandelier.
Yeah. And a tulle bed skirt.
Now this is very anticlimactic after all those pictures. But I thought I would share. The photo on the left is from one of my old coffee table books, probably from the 90s, with the tapestry cover. And on the right, that's my little table in the den with my Globe de Marie on it. But
and your beheaded statue box.
My beheaded head is in there. But I have kind of like not as pretty as that tapestry one, but it's kind of a damask brocade, thicker tablecloth style. It's kind of a square, but I still wanted to try it, and I like it. It softened it up, gives it more of a romantic feel. Does it look as good as the round table? No.
It looks lovely.
That
it has a very dark academia feel to it.
The other, yeah. So I thought I'd show you something where, like, literally, I got this idea.
It's your inspiration,
yeah,
and your interpretation.
Well, yeah, and what I had accessible. If I ever find a more like a tapestry.
Don't get a creepy child painting, please.
A creepy child painting?
Because those are pretty creepy kids in the inspiration photo.
Well, I already have a portrait of my daughter that could probably fit that, so I'm good.
Well, you said you were going to look for a big painting, but so I'm just saying now, don't let it be creepy kids.
Yeah, well, it's not like a painted portrait; it's like a photograph. But
okay,
still. Anywho,
all right.
I like portraits. I don't mind portraits. If I found a cool
There's
portrait.
Something about that smallest girl in that.
Well, I would prefer women, like that one, like we were talking about on our daydream edition. That one that I found. I want a portrait like that.
Yeah,
I would like that.
Yeah, it'd be so nice.
Thanks, okay. Mary likes my table.
It is lovely. So I spoiled this yesterday, but so this is a spin-off YouTube channel from Chateau Diaries. Escape to Rural France is run by Dan, who gardens and does many other things for Stephanie, and then they created their own channel a couple years ago. Now, he did daily vlogs for a while, so there are so many videos to watch. Like, I'm not recommending you go back to the beginning and watch, but
Okay.
I would recommend watching this 5 years in 10 minutes because they bought this derelict farmhouse and turned it into their home.
Really?
And yeah, and like you should see the kitchen. Like you should see it. It's great. Like
Wow.
they've done a lot of work to it. But he just bought a new property. And you'll see here it's a ruin. It was a chateau that had a fire. And he's going to work on restoring it. And there's only a few episodes out so far. I think he's doing it every week. So if you want to follow along with this, the photo at the bottom is the original picture pre-fire.
You
But
got
like, we're talking no floors.
this
We're
place.
talking it's just stone walls. That is it.
Stone walls and a little what is that? Terrarium or
It's got an indoor garden.
yeah, let's just say it's got an indoor garden.
So, but Dan is like an extremely hard worker and like he shows you what he's doing and he just does it all himself. So it's very empowering to watch one person and all that they can do.
How is he going to do that chateau all by himself? There's no way. No.
I don't know, but you got to see what they did to the house.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
I'm telling you.
I know I'm being doubtful, but to me, just the task. I mean, if you count that fourth, that's a 4-story building. How on earth would you have enough time in your lifetime to do that all on your own?
I don't know.
Seems
I'm interested to watch it. You know,
sure.
I'm interested to see what he does because
I'll go and see.
I've seen what he can do, so I'm excited to see.
Only on your recommendation am I going to go and subscribe.
And he's also did you know that he's a chef? Like that was his first.
I didn't until I saw all of the videos on Chateau Diaries where he was helping out and
he was a chef in the UK before he moved to France. And then,
well, that completely makes sense.
Yes. I've got soul. Yes.
He is very gifted in the kitchen. I mean, yeah.
So that's my first media list. I have more, but I'll let you do yours.
Okay. So this is a YouTube channel called Sunday Bobbles. And this is Jen's channel. And I found her, maybe about the same time I started my channel. And she does Patrick is here?
Patrick is here. Hi, Patrick.
Can I geek out for a second?
We feel like we've been visited by a celebrity, Patrick. Hello.
Oh my God. Okay. Anywho, Jen from Sunday Bobble. She is very educated. She has a passion for antique jewelry, and her videos tend to be more about just jewelry education and learning about gemology and different pieces. And she has some really, really informative videos that if you love antique jewelry, you would love to learn from her videos. They're very digestible. She is very clear in, the way she explains things. And it's a very kind of more like the slideshows the way we do them. And sometimes she'll share some of her jewelry, but it's mostly her talking and some slideshows, but they are well worth diving into. And she has wonderful different subjects. I just picked 2, but I mean, she has one on Scottish jewelry. She has one on Bohemian garnets. She has one where she shares one of the websites that she uses to try to track down the history of maybe the jeweler who made the piece. Just some really informative, wonderful, worthwhile videos to check out if you are into antique jewelry.
Well, I just want to go back because Patrick said that he was talking about the other Chateau channels. I think he's talking about the Pethricks and Chateau de la Baumegne.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, because they do their own roof stuff with their cherry picker.
Yeah.
I haven't talked about that one yet.
I watched Chateau DIY, the Michael Petherick. I watched his for a while, but as with all of them, I'm keeping up with Stephanie, but I can't keep up with them all.
Oh, we can't keep up with all the Chatelains. Oh well,
I can't keep up.
So, my other media must is a completely different ballgame. I read this book as a young girl, and it was called Dealing with Dragons. The photo on the left is the cover that I had. It's a series of 4 books. It's young adult, but it can be read by anybody who wants to read it. But it's about a princess who does not want to be a princess. So she goes and becomes an assistant to a dragon.
Wow.
Instead of like, she didn't want to like learn Latin or how to sew. She wanted defense. She wanted to do these kinds of things. They're like, you can't do that. You're a princess. She said, watch me. So, you know, I love dragons. If you've watched my little video, you know I love dragons. And so if you have a young person who you think would enjoy some adventure fantasy, you know, that like to subvert the traditional fairy tale situation, I recommend these. Because they're hilarious.
Awesome.
And
it looks like there's several series, or there's a set.
It's just 4. I was just trying to show the 4. It's Dealing with Dragons, Marching for Dragons, Calling on Dragons, and Talking to Dragons.
Awesome.
Exactly, Patrick. And I
see, he's on board. He's on board.
I want to reread them because it's been quite some time, and I'm pretty sure I'd still love them. So buy them for someone. Read them first.
Read them first. Read them first.
And then we're moving to History Highlight.
I want to say hi, Julie.
Julie is here.
Okay, so I picked Victorian calling cards as my history highlight. Victorian calling cards were also called visitor cards. Let's see. And they're a big part of social etiquette in the 19th century. Now, the cards basically, the whole idea of how they worked really relied on servants being a part of the way it worked. So it pretty much was used for upper middle classes. You know, the lower classes didn't really engage in this particular social etiquette. And the one thing I thought that was interesting is, you know, most of us know the calling cards would come, they'd be put on a tray, but they would a lot of times leave the cards of the wealthy people on there so that if you decided to invite someone for a call, they could see
who'd called before
to come by. Yeah. All right. Okay. So what have I got? So basically, the whole point of the calling card was to ask for an invitation to visit. And so then the homeowner would decide when and if they were going to accept that call. And if they did, they were also, there were etiquette rules as to how long the visit would last and when the visit would take place. So usually it'd be the late morning or early afternoon. And there were, I did find one card that had a day printed on it. And so some people would put the day as to, this is when I'm home, as far as when they're available to come and be seen.
Mm-hmm.
If a calling card wasn't acknowledged, or worse, returned in a sealed envelope, then your offer to visit was rejected And
Burned.
that was just, yeah, horrible.
The disgrace.
Disgrace, exactly. So I do have this tidbit of an article from 1890. Typical society woman handed out 3,000 cards a year. So it was a whole to do. This is what they took their time with doing. I mean, if they weren't doing the charity work that would keep them busy, they were
the needlepoint.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And the needlepoint. Those worthwhile skills. Then, they were doing a lot of these parties and then calling card invitations. Okay. And then it took me a little bit of some time, but this is kind of I didn't find this from a book. This is from, after looking at it, this is my summation of kind of the arc of how design styles, if you come across one, how they kind of did an arc. Yeah, exactly. So the earlier calling cards, 18th, 19th century. So it kind of started in France and moved to England and then America.
So today's equivalent is somebody leaving you on red, They saw your text. They ain't answering it.
Yeah. So they started small and were usually just like a handwritten name on plain cardstock. That's pre-Victorian. But once you get into the Victorian era and embellishment and, flourishes become very popular, you'll see the early Victorian styles are going to have more of like calligraphy type illustrations and writing on it. So it goes from plain handwriting to a little bit more decorative handwriting, and then some designs that are either hand done or used etchings. And then it moves into, as the printing process kind of develops, you've got these more colorful pictorial images, much like the postcards, which didn't happen until the 1900s, which is interesting because by the 1890s, 1900s, that's when the trend for the calling cards went back to simpler. And I was thinking that maybe it was because postcards became really popular at that time, and maybe they wanted to differentiate. They didn't want their calling card to look like the postcards. That's the only thing that I was thinking, well, why? But apparently this was the trend. So it goes from simple to more embellished, back to simple, which I did not know. I figured that if it was simple, it would be an older one, but that is not the case. The printed simple ones are the most recent.
I always wondered if business cards were a derivation from a calling card.
Well, they had, the business cards were the trade cards. So from what I understand, like those trade cards that would have a picture and then the advertisement, those would be left out as well. But those were.
I might have a hidden name card that I can show you, Marcy. That's what I had to go grab. I was like, I have calling cards. Let me go grab them.
Yeah. So these are just some examples that I found that were attractive. If you were going to collect them, these might be ones that would be good picks for a collector. So I've got the early Victorian examples of the ones that were hand done. So the bird, it's all hand done. And below, I think these are more like etchings. And then the one on the
tinted.
The one on the right is a tinted one. So, as printing processes, started to improve, they did, utilize that. Now, I am going to say, just because I'm saying these are the trends doesn't mean there weren't still plain handwritten cards in the mid-Victorian era. There were, but this was the trend of, if you had the money to spend on it, this is the trend of what was happening, of when they started making these.
Right.
And so mid-Victorian, these are the ones that a lot of people like to reproduce and scrapbook with and do all sorts of decorative things with. These are the ones that have all of those fun Victorian images with the hands. And they're just beautiful, colorful. A lot of them had a lot of like die cuts. I don't know what you called it back then, but nowadays I'd call it a die cut. And then sometimes they would thread little ribbons and things through the holes on them. So very pretty. And then late Victorian into Edwardian, you've got the back to plain, but not so much handwritten. It's more usually printed by this time. And even though, like, when I was doing my research, it was saying that the ladies' cards were tended to be square and the men were long. But I saw plenty of examples that had women's names on them that were more longer. So I think, I don't think it's just like a definite, it's had to be this way.
Probably was preference.
It was just, trends that kind of happened.
Or printer. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Oh, and this square card, that's the one that says Tuesdays on it. That's an example of
when she's at home.
Yes, that is when she is at home. Exactly.
And Julie asked about cards with Bible verses on them. I haven't come across any with Bible verses on them.
I did read a little bit that in the United States, they had things like called morality type cards or sentiment cards with more morals and Bible verses on them. And I think that was a trend that was more in America than in England. So, I mean, I didn't find a lot about it, but I did read a little bit that was another kind of card that people would give out, but that wouldn't necessarily be considered a calling card. That would be a sentiment card.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you look any design, like throughout history, like things go from super ornate to slim down to super ornate to, it's just the fashions that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there are some other fun things about this time and interesting etiquette and communication that they did with these little cards. And one of the things was they communicated certain intent or reasons by folding different corners of the card that they left with the servant or the doorman of the house. So if your visit is in person, so sometimes what they would do is they'd come, they'd sit in their coach, or they'd give the card, they'd fold the corner down, and they'd give it to the servant. Then they'd go back and wait in their carriage so that the servant would take it to the master or mistress of the house. And then they'd say, oh, they're here waiting. So it's like they know that, okay, so then they have to decide what they're going to do. If they're going to invite you in or not. Or give you maybe another card as like an invitation of, I'll let you know.
Yeah.
And so I've got the left corner means if you go there and you leave that means you would like to be invited to come over to pay them a congratulatory visit. So it'd be like, oh, so-and-so wants to, congratulate me on the new baby or something. Like, that's probably what it is. Then they'll know that's why they're calling. And then they'll decide when they're going to send a letter or whatever to invite them over. And then the condolence visit is the lower left corner. And if you were going on a long trip, then you would do the right lower corner. And then what is down here at the bottom? Fold the card in the middle if you indicate that the call is on several or all members of the family. And then if you were a gentleman, you would do the top right corner if there was more than one woman, but it's for that whole household. Just there. Now, I was really trying to make this a highlight. We're doing a little bite of information, but it got a little confusing. But this is the gist of some of the communications with
I'm sure everybody had their little tricks to it too.
Yeah. And then there also was a tradition of putting initials to indicate certain reasons for a visit, and it all had to do with in French. So if you put PF, it meant congratulations.
Pour féliciter.
Yes, thank you. And I was really hoping to find a card that had that writing on it. I couldn't find one. I did find it. Yeah, I found one card that had its folded corner still down.
Hey, Corey.
But I couldn't find any with the really fun French initials for intent. But that was apparently another thing. So if you are out there and you come across some calling cards and you see, one of these initials, you'll know that, oh, that was part of their communication as to why they were visiting. That wasn't, some other, note or whatever. And then a little bit different from a calling card, but I had not known really about these. And so I thought they were quite humorous. And so I wanted to end the highlight with acquaintance or escort cards. And these are quite funny. These were cards that were used by less formal gentlemen as kind of icebreakers. Like
rogues.
They were
and the rakes.
So if you can read this, it says, "May I have the pleasure of escorting you home this evening? If so, keep this card. If not, please may I sit on the fence and see you go by." It's confidential. And there's some other fun ones, but this category, I mean, I know the really pretty mid-Victorian ones would be fun to collect, but I think
these would be hilarious.
Would be fun.
Oh,
so here's some simpler ones. You have, acquaintance compliments, with confidence and respect. "Can I have the pleasure of your company this evening? If so, keep this card. If not, please return it."
Company where? Are we going to this? Are we going to the theater? Are we going to?
I'm wondering if it's something that they
see the lights at Kew Gardens. What is happening?
Like, it could be maybe you're at the theater and you approach the woman. I don't know. Who knows when they used? This was just one of those things that I stumbled upon.
And then she's a woman that doesn't have a chaperone because that ain't gonna fly.
Throw it in. And then this one, I think, if you have no objection, I will be your protection. That was cute.
Chance of a lifetime. That one, may I see you home?
Yeah. But do you see this? There's yes and no.
I guess you fold it.
It made me think of like the old Valentines you would get as a kid of like, do you like me? Yes, no.
I like the frogs. Where's Joyce?
I know. Frogs. So there was enough where I realized, oh, this would kind of be a humorous collection if you could find them.
Yeah.
This one is the frog one was kind of sweet, but just wait to this one. This is what the rogues were doing. I am see why whoever this person is. Who the devil are you? These existed, and these cool cats would hand these to the lesser formal ladies.
Well, at this point in time, you needed to be introduced, right? So they were just being like, "Here you go."
Yeah, exactly.
I ain't got time for this introductions. You'll let me know who you are.
I had no idea that these kinds of things existed, and some of the guys were passing things like this to the ladies.
Right. I want one of these too so much.
I know, right? That's why, even though technically they're not calling cards.
Now I'm going to have to look through more paper.
I know. More paper to dig through. Just ephemera dig for hours.
Man.
But
Jody. This is like it was like, go to your paper guy. I need to know.
Yeah. So yeah, I thought this would be a humorous note to end on cards, even though it's not exactly a call, but it's kind of still like an icebreaker. I want to meet you card.
Right. Well, before we go to my last slide, let me make us bigger. Because I have some calling cards I can show you.
I brought my calling card tray to share.
Right. You've got the tray.
I got a tray.
Well,
awesome. Oh, here, let me do this. There we go.
Brothel candles.
Oh, here.
I need one of those too.
So I don't know if you guys remember, but when I went to the Strawberry Festival, that one video, it was an indoor antique market. I did pay quite a nice little pocket change of this one. But look at it. It's like a nymph. It has the crescent moon.
I love the flowers.
He's hammocked on the little leaves and flowers there. But so charming, and it has the little lip. So this was a small calling card tray that they would keep by the door on the table.
I have.
Oh, wait, let me scoot you over.
Well, this one would have had just a name in it. So this is a little envelope for the plain name. This is, here's one. It says, accept my sincere love. This one has no name on it. And
I don't know, Patrick, as far as like a trick. To me, it'd be something that, would be not too huge. And then like a small tray. And I think if you can kind of date it to turn of the century, there's a good chance it'd be a calling card tray.
Again, we got the hand with the doves. This one does have the name in it. And this was Mary Steele Clark. And I love the flourishes.
Oh, yeah.
On the letters. But this is my favorite one. It says faithful and true. So it's got the hands. And then I love the additional like stamped detail. Mm-hmm. And this one has a name as well. And again, I just love it. So these are it's like domed in the middle, your tray, correct?
Mine is. It's what I would call repoussé, which is where it is stamped from the back into the metal to make the decorative design.
Yeah. And this is Gertie Monut.
What is it?
Gertie Monut is her name.
All right.
Gertie Mo. I like her name. But yeah. The flourishes make it. I love these. I don't know what I'm gonna. I mean, I had them for sale. Nobody wanted them, so you know what that means. I get to keep them.
New collection.
I get to keep them. Yeah, the glue gives it away. But
yeah, it's true. I did not know that those were older. I thought that the really colorful ones were the most recent ones, which I'm sure. I'm sure they might have.
They probably bleed.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of
nice car. My first car was
Gertie.
I can't remember what I named my first car. I don't think it had a name. It was just the Tempo. Because it was a Ford Tempo. Do we want to do favorite things?
I do.
Okay. You want me to go first? You want to go first?
You're up, so why don't you go first?
Okay, so I had the fantastic luck to go to the tail end of a friend's yard sale. And he wouldn't let me pay for anything. So I got lots of treasures.
Oh my God, you guys, this is amazing. I saw this yesterday.
Which should I show the back first?
Yeah. Yes.
Or no, let's do the front first.
Okay.
So I'll show you the bottom. So it is a very old, made in England. It's crazed for days. Vase. But look at it. Look at the pansies on it. And but then I saw these guys and I thought they were some kind of fowl, as in bird creature. But they're not, because when you flip it around, look at they're dragons. They're dragons. Look at the feet. Oh my god. Look at the texture and the gold on it. And look at their heads.
Yeah. I know. Kaboom.
It was like the second thing I saw. And I was like, oh, he's like, that's old. I was like, I can tell that's old. He's like, it needs to go to the Bower. And I said, yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Yeah. It's fantastic.
And so when I knew this was going to be my favorite thing, then I was like, okay, we're going to talk about the dragon books. There's
perfect.
There's a method to my madness. Y'all.
Yes. Perfect.
There's a method. So I love it so much. I know nothing about it other than it was made in England quite some time ago. I've been Google image is not liking it at all. But if anybody knows anything about it, please. It was a yard sale, Julie.
She was friends with the person running the yard sale.
Yeah.
She got favoritism.
But it was there all day and nobody took it. It was meant to live with me in the Bower. So This is my new favorite thing.
It's beautiful. I love it.
Your turn.
Well, mine's a lot simpler, but this is a present that Angela got me for my birthday that I just opened yesterday. And it's a little piece of brown transferware, which, as most of you know, my favorite color is brown. I like brown in the house, and she got me this adorable little creamer. And so I filled it with some rosemary just to jazz her up. And there's 2 different designs, front and back. So just for the kitchen. I love it.
And I like the little lines in the pottery itself too. Like,
oh yes, yeah. In the design. Mm-hmm. So very happy with my birthday present. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So that's my new favorite thing for the week.
And I did have time to do a quote.
Okay.
So I can. You'll have to add it.
Help me to add it. Hold on.
Is it? Well,
oops. I'm getting there.
1870s. What is that? My dragon or the transferware? I don't know.
I've got water on mine. Mine has one of those ironstone, kind of like an extra piece of clay, and then they
stamp it
in. So
I found this quote, and it called to me. So, collections collect collectors. It doesn't work the other way around. A certain object misses its own kind and communicates that to some person who surrounds it with rhyming items. These become at first a quorum, then a selective, addictive madness. I don't know anything about this author, Alan Gurganus, but I found that quote and I was like, yeah, it's fine.
Yes.
But we're selective, even if we're addicted. It's okay.
Yeah. I agree. I am selective. And then sometimes your tastes change, or you find something that you like even better. Then you replace.
Oh, you're a creamer. He was pretty sure 1870s because it looks like aesthetic movement.
Oh, because of the design and the shape.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, for me, it's The reason I love watching all, different resellers and other people's shopping videos is I discover things I didn't know existed, and now I need, like, those black cat magazines.
Oh my gosh, when I saw those,
Did you know that they were printed in 1910? I specifically need a 1910 black cat magazine.
Yeah, when I saw those, I was very enchanted, but I think he had said $80 or something for each.
75. The cheapest one online is 130.
Oh, is it? So the price wasn't too okay.
No, that was a good price.
I thought that was an awful lot, but
no. Especially the ones with all the various kinds of cats. Those are even more.
I am not going to spend $75 on a pamphlet.
On ephemera.
To start a collection. I'm just not going to do it. I mean, you have to choose what your passions are. And as much as I love the imagery, I would rather put that $75 toward something else. I'd rather put it toward, trying to get an oil painting or some other.
Right, Patrick. And then Heather showed us today we need rakish calling cards. Didn't know it was a thing.
That is the one that I'm going to look for. When I saw when I saw those cards, I specifically was like, okay, that would be a collection I could get behind.
Right. The odds of finding it though, pretty small.
But I've never seen one. And it's hard because I know you can get reprints of them. Because I looked when I was looking at Victorian cards, I saw it was Zazzle or something, and you could get the "My name is so and so. Who the devil are you?" You can get, and they look like they're old,
but they're not.
But they're not. So it's.
I like CAD cards.
Anything from Victorian era, it's so popular, and it's very easy to confuse reproductions.
Yeah.
So,
well, thank you for that highlight. It was fun to learn that.
Yeah. Well, I pick things that I'm kind of interested in, even though they end up sometimes perplexing me. I still try to wrap my head around it and give it to you in a little digestible chunk.
Yeah. I don't know what my history highlight. I was like, he's like, I should start planning my history highlight earlier. And then I don't. I have a couple thoughts. So we shall see what next week brings. Maybe we'll all be surprised.
Patrick just called them CAD cards.
I know, I saw CAD cards. That's the perfect term. And Patrick, if you're not aware, we're fans of alliteration here.
Yes. In case you didn't notice, each segment had to be alliterated. We would not rest until we had a name for each segment.
That was alliteration. I even read an antique poem about alliteration.
Oh, that's true.
Was that on here? Did I read that on here?
You did.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
That was in your old journal, wasn't it?
Yeah, my 200-year-old poetry scrapbook.
It's pretty good. I like that. Remember, I was like, we should fit that on a t-shirt. That'd be a lot of typography.
Too much.
Yeah. But
thanks so much, everybody, for coming to B&B tonight. There were so many new faces that I know. Happy to see.
Thrilled, and I'm sorry. I know I'm red. Patrick, I love you, and I got a little excited when I saw you in the chat. So it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I can't help it. I can't do anything about it. Thank you for coming. Thank everybody for coming.
Everybody.
I love all of you so much.
So happy to see you all. And next week it will be on my channel. And if you didn't have enough dragons, you can go watch my 1-minute ridiculousness that I made with the help of Heather.
Yes.
That includes a dragon.
I love it.
Geranium glass.
It was just such a fun day. So
it was the best day.
It was a great day.
So But again, that'll be next Monday at 9 p.m. And we will see you then. In the meantime, have a fantastic week.
Oh, yeah.
And enjoy. We have amazing fall weather here. I hope y'all are enjoying that too. So.
All right. Thanks, everyone, for coming.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Oh, yeah. I have barely any water left, but cheers.